All right, welcome to episode 21 of the OB Pod. Nice little lag there. Today we're going to be talking about how to close clients worth 50K plus
Lots of
without actually
ways.
guaranteeing them anything. This is a crazy concept.
Is it even possible?
Is it possible? No, I don't think so. Everyone says I have to include a guarantee in my offer, and it's the only way to do business. I think an easy way for us to start this is just to talk about why guarantees became a thing. Um,
You know,
yeah,
I know that-
hop
so
in.
I get so many client or so many people that come on sales calls asking, "Is there a guarantee?" And the best way I
Yeah.
kind of articulate it is explaining that I think a guarantee is often a band-aid solution to a further, deeper issue, which is ultimately
Yes.
trust, right? They
Yes.
want a guarantee because they don't fully trust you. So instead of
Yes.
getting a guarantee, I would much rather focus more on helping the client trust me more. If that means they don't
Yes.
close on the call, if that means they got to go contact other clients, if that means they have to, you know, get to know me over the next 3 months, so be it. But I think that's going to build a much better client relationship and a much
Mhm.
longer client lifetime value than just putting this band-aid solution on, which is, yeah, sure, we'll give a guarantee. And then what I also explain to clients is 90% of guarantees are never upheld, at least from what I see from other agencies.
Sure.
I hear so many times, oh, they guarantee me this amount of appointments in this day. We're past this day. I still haven't got my money back. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just it's so chaotic. I would much rather
Bad
have,
business practice.
yeah, I would much rather
Yeah.
have someone just trust in the process, trust
Yeah.
in us, and give them a
Yeah.
flexible payment terms to be
Sure.
able to really give us the full time we need.
And to clarify, it's not that guarantees don't work. It's that really they should be kind of like icing on top of the cake.
Yeah,
Like they should be something that maybe takes the quality of your pitch or your closing from 90% to 95.
yeah,
Um, but a reliance on guarantees does not solve the deeper issue, like Braden mentioned. So a good shit test is to essentially be able to um, uh, uh, close people without a guarantee. Because if you can close without a guarantee, then adding a guarantee in is probably going to increase your close rate and make you more money for sure. But it is not a requirement in order to build a successful business. I like there are. There were like quality guarantees that many businesses use, like 30-day money back guarantees, things like this. Um, uh, that's not like an unreasonable consideration. I think just generally in business, if you F up, if you make a mistake, then refunding a customer is good practice. You'll see really good companies like Amazon often do this. In fact, they do like no questions asked refunds. Maybe they use guarantees, but I don't see them market guarantees on Amazon. Like I don't see them the main selling point of their business being a guarantee.
yeah,
Like they have built trust with you as a customer in so many other ways that you buy on Amazon. And that is the case for most software that you use, most things you buy in grocery stores. Like I have never seen a guarantee below my bananas. I've never seen a guarantee below the sandwich that I buy, or like below the steak on the menu at the restaurant.
yeah. And I think that's a good point to mention is guarantees aren't inherently bad, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't focus on relying on them.
Cool.
For
S-
um,
So now we've covered that. Like, let's actually talk about how to close clients worth 50K without a guarantee. Do you want to start with one critical thing?
Yeah, so well, I mean, there's I think there's two ways to go about it. Number one, you can get the client to pay more upfront, and then number
Mhm.
two, you can get the client to pay more over time.
Yeah.
And those are the two best ways. Which one do you want to hit on first?
Let's talk about more over time.
Okay, so over
Mhm.
time, when a client comes on, obviously depending on the compensation structure that you charge,
Mhm.
it should be intuitive for you getting more business for them, making you more money. So something like a percentage at close or X amount per appointment that you get them. Ways that the longer they work with you, the more they spend. Not so
Cool.
reliant on like a flat monthly fee, even though a flat
So
monthly
are
fee
you
is
saying, so
good.
you're saying, I mean, at the end of the day, if I charge $1,000 a month for service, after
Yeah,
50 months, that client's worth 50K, right?
exactly.
Okay. But you're suggesting that they can actually pay more over time.
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to do it. Like just a
Hmm.
flat monthly fee works. There's also one that you can like exponentially scale, which would be more. It could be a monthly fee and then these upsells that get
Hmm.
further monthly fees, bigger monthly fees. There's a lot of different ways.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
just the best pricing structure I like to go with is something that not only is a monthly fee that over time is just going to keep on compounding, but also a percentage of like growth. So that way you've got incentive to do
Hmm.
better for them. You can make this
Hmm.
client more and more valuable over time.
Yeah. So what Braden's talking about is an easy way to increase client lifetime value. So when you have like uh the a client your client lifetime value is the amount that they pay you before they stop working with you. Either they go out of business, they die, it's like yeah, you die, you go out of business, or they stop working with you, like they choose to use a better solution for the most part, or stop using your solution. Um, and if they stop using your solution, it's usually because there's a better solution out there. Um, now that's if I'm charging a monthly fee, let's say $2,000 a month, at some point the client's going to be worth $50,000 if they stay long enough. So if my service is good enough for them to justify continuing to pay. Um, but another strategy to make them worth 50K quicker is to have a way for them to increase their spend with you over time. So maybe they can come in and they can spend $2,000 in the first month, and with a performance fee, with a commission, if you do something that improves their business or generates revenue, then you might own some sort of bonus on top of that. I think the best performance fee that we've made from one client in a month at Flex Labs was about $19,000, maybe more. Um, Actually, I think it was like $42,000. I'm sorry, I think it was like around 42,000. And so that was on top of the monthly fee that we had that was maybe like 5 to 8K. So we were able to make a lot in that month, and that's 50K actually in 1 month from the client, roughly, give or take. Um, but that client came in and started paying us a few $1,000s a month to start. It was only over time as we were able to generate that business more revenue that we earned more as a result. So one way to earn more every month is to take a percentage or have some sort of bonus for performance
Yeah.
for achieving the result that is desired. Another way to do this, it's a very similar way, but is to have some sort of tiered pricing. So let's say I'm a cold email agency. I send emails on behalf of businesses. The problem with most cold email agencies is when things are going well, I can't spend more. I want to be able to move from the 2,000 a month plan to the 4,000 a month plan to the 10,000 a month plan to the 20,000 a month plan because it's making my business money. So if they're not going to take a commission, then they should have a way to increase the amount that a customer is paying. And businesses want this. When something is working, they want to do more of it. And that means investing more into something as well. Um, uh, so when you're thinking about your service and your offer, that's like just generally something that you can do. And by having a structure like this, it also removes the need for a guarantee. Like if the the more expensive your service is, the more likely you are to need a guarantee. Um, if you're talking to the same customer. If you're talking to bigger customers, that's different, and we'll get into that in a second. But it's if someone makes $50,000 a month, then maybe at $2,000 a month, I don't really need a guarantee. At $5,000 a month, I don't still don't need a guarantee. But at $30,000 a month, I'm probably going to need a guarantee. And that's simple. That's simple math. It's just because it's so much of their revenue that it's hard for them to justify spending. And this probably gets into the next thing that leads to you closing clients that are worth $50,000. If you want to elaborate on it, Braden, you need clients that can pay you $50,000.
Yeah. If you're trying to sell a $4,000 service to someone who's got $500 in their account, you're probably not going to find the best luck, and so on and so forth as you continue to scale up. So you want to make sure that you're targeting people that can actually afford the service that you're pricing at.
Yeah,
The
easy math. The easy math is they need to be doing probably about double the amount of profit that your service is.
Yep.
So if your service is $3,000 a month, they can't be making 5,000 in revenue and profiting 3,000. It's a stretch. It's unlikely someone's going to close on that. They should be making probably at least $6,000 a month in profit, which means for most businesses they got to be making at least 10K a month, up to like 50 to 60K a month sometimes, depending
Yeah.
on margins.
You should know
Yeah.
this about your industry and what niche you're in, et cetera. Their rough margin of the type of business they run, and this is also something you can just asking questions. Um, but yeah, I 100% agree. I think two, sometimes even 3x, so right around 2x is about that minimum as far as what you're pricing and then what they're profiting in the amount of time frame that they'd be spending
Mhm.
to make sure that it's something they can actually afford.
So if you're charging, if you're building or offering and you say, you know what, I actually just want to take commission only, then great, you can work with literally anybody because there is no cost to them up front, and you are just going to make the money and take a percentage of it. That is viable. That's what there are people that do this. But by the way, there are people that do everything, and all of it works. And so it's just really what your preference is. We recommend in the early days of your business to charge some sort of base monthly retainer because it gets you cash up front and it gets you the ability to reinvest in your business and improve the quality of it and grow it faster. But it's not a requirement. The
Now,
other strategy you can do is $2,000 a month or 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month with commissions or with tiered pricing that allows them to spend more. Um, um, and you don't even need to have that. Like you could just collect retainers forever. Um, but again, you want to make your clients worth more over time. Um, and that just means that you need to understand the math of their businesses. You need to make sure that you are talking to somebody that is able to pay it. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make is you have to offer a guarantee because you are talking to somebody that literally cannot afford to pay for your service for more than 30 days.
yeah,
But if someone can afford, it doesn't really matter. Um, sorry to bring.
yeah. Well, no, and I was going to just transition into, I mean, you're kind of mentioning making clients worth more. Now, how would you actually make them worth more as soon as possible in the sense of
Yeah.
maybe decreasing the if you charge 2K a month, it's going to take you
Hmm.
25 months to make that person worth 50K. How can I make that person worth way more way quicker, or just get more cash up front? One great way
Hmm.
would be if you charge 2K a month, that's 24K a year. Maybe give them an incentive to bulk up a year's worth of payment right away, paid in full. So instead of
Hmm.
it being 24K across the whole year, maybe you make it $20,000 upfront once.
Hmm.
And that's a great way to kind of squeeze the time frame where you're actually getting that cash. So it doesn't take you 12 whole months to accumulate all the cash. You get it in one payment.
Right. Yeah. The so like totally viable, easy way to make a client worth $50,000 is charge them $50,000 up front. But
Yeah.
again, if you want to do that without a guarantee, you need to understand the math of their business. You need to understand that unless you can prove that 95% of the time they're going to recoup their investment in 30 days or whatever it is, then you need someone that's got far more than $50,000.
Yeah. But the
Uh,
mistake you don't want to make is you don't want to overqualify to the point where you're getting rid of so much of the market where you just have not nearly as much people as you normally should to reach out to. So there's a point
sure.
to properly qualify, which is around that 2x metric that we said. I think that should be the lowest as far as what you're
Hmm.
charging and the profit they're making. But anything more than or anything more than that, obviously you can do as well. Just don't over qualify to the point where I'm not reaching out to anyone making less than 100 million a year, right? And now
Yeah.
your market goes from maybe a million people down to like 10,000, 5,000, right?
And that there's a bit of a segment into this because again, we're talking about with doing this without guarantees. So it is possible. It is possible to get somebody that's making less than your service. Let's say $2,000 a month in profit, and your service is 5,000. It's possible to sell someone like that without a guarantee. The way that you do it without a guarantee is first you need to understand how much they can actually return from your service. How much money could they actually make, and in what time frame? If they can make it all tomorrow, then great. It's an amazing deal. You can show that. Um, but if it's going to take them 5 years to recoup their investment, or if it's something like SEO or something that's a longer term play, then it's probably going to take them a little bit of time before they start seeing return. And unless they have lots of money in the bank, which is the other qualification you can use outside of profit, unless they have lots of money in the bank, it's something that's going to be difficult to justify.
Yeah.
Um, so you need to understand those two things about your prospect, and then you need to understand how quickly they return, and you can take those factors and you can develop a bit of a formula for your business about your pricing, and the type of lead that you should be talking to,
Yeah. And
what kind of qualifications you need in place.
two good
Um,
qualifiers
yeah,
financially are also definitely like cash on hand and also monthly cash flow coming in as far as net profit goes. Because
yeah,
someone might have just exited their business and they're
sure,
making
yeah,
no money every single
yeah,
month, but they
yeah,
have $10 million in the bank,
yeah,
right? So just qualifying solely on cash flow month over month is just half of the equation as well.
yeah. For 1,000%. Now, you want to make it as objective as possible. So it's for the most part, most of the time, most leads you're going to be able to make it objective with. There are the occasional like this guy just exited for, or this guy is just like super high potential. Maybe they don't even have any money. Maybe they sold for $100 million and then went to Vegas, lost it all the next day. But they're probably the type of person that is going to be able to go and start a very successful business again. Um, there's a bit of math you can do there too, but for the most part, you shouldn't account for that. It's so rare that it doesn't happen very often, and most people I've seen this so many times with agencies. They don't want to really qualify because they're like, well, what if there's the one guy, like, what if it's Jeff Bezos or something that comes onto the call and it's like it's for a new business, it's got no money. It's like, yeah, sure, that happens sometimes,
And
but
that's
that person is probably going to be pretty aggressive when you cancel the meeting on them.
yeah,
And they're going to be like, no, I want to meet with you. And they will
exactly.
prove that they are someone who's good to meet with as well.
Oftentimes those people will like make themselves known if it is something where you cancel the appointment. And that was something I struggled with for a while is I never wanted to qualify harder than what I was doing because I was like, well, I've closed people on that have done, lower than what I'm trying to qualify for. So wouldn't I just be losing out on money? But if you apply those same efforts, you're reaching out to everyone to just like more qualified prospects, definitely going to
Mhm.
have a greater return, number one. And then number two, if you actually study your client base and study who retains the best, who does the best, sometimes you might see qualifiers that lower financially qualified or lower experienced business owners just tend to do worse. And that's not saying you should push them away. I think you should always
Mhm.
find solutions around helping those people, but that just
Mhm.
might determine certain things in your qualifying process as well.
1000%. So we've spoken a bit about um, charging, right? You can charge $50,000 up front. Now you got a client worth 50K. Now to do that without guarantees, um, the primary way to do it is make sure they're financially qualified. Now, what if someone? What I I want to talk just a bit more about what happens when someone's just on the line. My recommendation is it's not worth it. It's not worth pursuing. Um, but if someone is just in the line, you could still close them again if you can prove that they're going to return. So if you know that that person is going to return, you should be able to prove it. You should be able to say, look, here's the math. In 30 days, this is what you'll be making. In 60 days, this is what you'll be making. Um, and it should then be easy for them to make a decision. And that decision is going to be made on trust. Do they actually believe you or not?
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that
so
actually,
yeah.
I think that segments perfectly into the first thing you mentioned was making sure they're properly qualified, and that's definitely a
Hmm.
big factor. Making sure they can financially afford it, etc. But another
Hmm.
factor is definitely, as far as closing without a guarantee goes, is going to
Hmm.
be, do they trust the service enough, right? Because
Yeah.
once again, a guarantee is just like a shortcut to trust. So
Hmm.
um, you want to make sure that ahead of the call, they see other people in their similar shoes that are doing well with the service. They
Yeah.
see what the live, demos of the service looks like, and other client success stories. And as much as you can show them before the call, during the call, after the call, that's going to give them more certainty that what you're saying is true and is going to happen. The more and more that you're going to be able to close people without needing a guarantee on that.
Hmm. And you can show people through your character. You can show people through the way that you act. um, through being genuine. Like, for instance, if you genuinely intend on taking somebody's money and not refunding them, if you f up, then you'll probably give that away subtly through body language, through the way that the way you respond to certain questions or the things that you say. Um, and not everyone catches on to these things, but most people have a decent understanding of the feelings. And lots of the time, people say, "Oh, it doesn't feel right," or "It doesn't make sense." And it's not necessarily objective, probably because they can't put it into words. But usually, there's little indicators like that, like little flags that you're putting up.
Yeah,
So if that's something you're going to do, then you shouldn't expect to close people. I don't think you deserve to either,
yeah.
because you're too attached to the concept of money in the first place. Different podcast. We'll talk about that another
Yeah.
time.
It's
But
actually like
yeah.
what are your reasonings behind wanting to close this person and
Hmm.
then making sure that those are like sometimes it might be the best decision for the client to not sign up and for you to not sign them up now and make money now from this person.
Hmm.
I think a really good frame to go into every like sales call with is just trying to help the person on the other side of the screen, whether that's them
Hmm.
doing business with you or not doing business with you. And if you
Hmm.
go into that frame with every call, I think you leave everyone with a very positive experience, and you'll probably just end
Hmm.
up closing more people. In
Some
the
of including that highest performance fee client that I mentioned. Um, some of our best paying clients ever at Flax Labs have been people that we initially turned down.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and you build so much more trust with them. It's counterintuitive. It doesn't seem to make much sense, but your job is to win over the long run. Your job is not to win today and lose
yeah,
tomorrow. Um, so you have to take that into consideration. You have to understand what is actually useful to the person. And if it's not useful enough and it's not useful to anybody, then you need to improve it. Like
Yeah.
you need to actually go out there and understand why and make changes. And some of these things are easier said than done. But it really is that simple. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's a great concept, and I think
yeah.
sometimes the market's super honest about
Hmm.
where you need to improve on it and stuff like that. And I think sometimes trying to force people in that truly aren't good fits is just shortcutting, and it never pays off in the long run.
1,000%. An easy way to tell if someone's a good fit if you're brand new to this is don't charge much money, but have a way to make lots of money. So give yourself the ability to, sign someone on that $300 a month retainer, but make it 1,000 a month, 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month. Like there should be a path to that with them.
Yeah,
There should be the ability to grow with them as a business. And by doing that, you will understand a lot more about the quality of service you deliver, the expected results, etc. So that is another way to close someone without guarantees is to close them on something very small to begin with and increase it over time. And if you walk into the Apple store, you can buy something for $10, but you can also spend $50,000. Now, the cool thing is if you're a business owner and you're shopping with someone like Apple, then in the first year, usually most businesses make more money in year 10 and year 50 than they do in year zero, like the first 6 months. Um, so you can assume for the most case, unless the business goes out of business, which happens, the business is going to make more money over time. And you can't control the business going out of business for the most part, unless your service is directly related to that. But you can control how much you charge them and how you build and develop a relationship with them over time. And you can give them the option to be able to come in and spend a little bit of money and dip their feet and spend lots more money with you over time. And
I
this is
think
probably another concept lots of people miss. And they just try to skip to the businesses that are going to pay them loads of money today. Um, but then they miss out on winning the business of all of the people coming into the market.
And I think a super good concept on it is just that like everyone is ultimately a customer and can and will buy at some point. It just sometimes their time frames might be longer than what you want. It might not be today. It might be 3 months, 12 months,
Mhm.
36 months down the line. Um,
What's the longest close you've had so far? Like first meeting to close?
Honestly, not too long, maybe like 120 days.
Right, 4 months. Still pretty decent.
Yeah, but the main analogy for this is there was a Hormozy video where he was like he had a ton of people in a room and he asked when they all heard of him and he said
Mhm.
6 months ago and one or two people raised their hand, a year ago a couple more people raised their hand, and then like 2 plus years or 3 plus years like 90% of the room raised their hand, which just shows that to pay and be in that room, all those people, they're great customers. It just took them
Mhm.
3 years of knowing him to actually get them
Mhm.
to pay. So
Right,
I think it's a really good thing to keep in the back of your mind.
right. Um, cool.
That's a lot of value in
Cool.
20 days.
Yeah, I think if you get those things right, you can add a guarantee at the end of it if you want to. You
Yeah.
don't need to. At the end of the day, like um, lots of people are not going to. They're not actually going to require a guarantee. They're going to require that it makes sense for them from a business perspective, and their risk is balanced. So if it's a large amount of their money, they need other proof points to show, okay, cool, this makes sense. And a guarantee, like slapping a guarantee on something, is kind of a false way to determine how much you've de-risked your product or your thing, because actually in life nothing's guaranteed. Um, and that's the thing that I guess like is kind of missed with the guarantee is that if someone buys from you and you die the next day, it's probably going to be pretty hard for them to get their money back. Um, so um, it, it's a misunderstanding on everyone's part to say that it's guaranteed. Of course, it de-risks things. Of course, it makes things easier to buy. Um, but it's not required. I don't think we really used it very much ever at Flax.
That's
Um,
what I mentioned because I've
yeah,
actually seen a lot of high-level business owners, and I'm not saying only low tier businesses really
Mhm.
attract to it, but guaranteed naturally will attract people that are more risk avert, that are more maybe on the newer side to business, etc. Which if that's not a bad client overall, but what I've seen is a lot of these higher end companies, bigger businesses, they just get the concept that like this will work or it won't work. Like
yeah,
there's just no guarantee around it. Although a
right.
guarantee can help. That's just what I've seen.
It can help. Um, and in general, you're probably going to refund a customer that like you made an oopsie for, or you promised something and couldn't deliver, or you should be at least.
Yeah.
And that's basically a guarantee in and of itself. It just doesn't need to be the thing that you market. Um, I think why guarantees have gotten not very popular is the business gurus. It's an easy way to get people quick results because you can just go out there and offer a bunch of guarantees. Like over the last 10 years, like if you start doing this 10 years ago, you could go out there, offer a bunch of guarantees, get a load of closes, immediately make more money. Boom, Guru can use that as a case study. They can sell the course to more people. So there's like this kind of never-ending loop. Um, and hey, we have a guarantee at OB. Kind of like we kind of. I guess we started saying, hey, we'll just guarantee this for you. Um, so we're not like innocent in this regard in any way. Um, but also like everyone in OB to this point has not joined for the guarantee, and
Yeah.
most of them don't actually have. We like weren't aware that we had a guarantee.
And I think it's
Um,
also the
yeah,
expectation you set. We don't set like a specific time frame. I think that's
yeah,
one of the most brutal things about a guarantee is sometimes it might work out way sooner or way later than
yeah,
what the guarantee's time frame was. But our guarantee isn't necessarily that it's gonna X thing is gonna happen in Y time frame. It's just
yeah,
X thing will happen if you stick with it long, which is
yeah,
pretty much anything.
yeah, exactly. And we won't charge you if it doesn't.
Boom.
Um, yeah, cool. Um, Last thing on the topic of gurus selling guarantees. The only other thing with guarantees, and the reason for this video, is because guarantees are becoming increasingly less effective because more people are trying to use them as a way to cover a shitty product. And what's happening is buyers are starting to become more and more jaded by guarantees. They're saying, well, this was guaranteed, but no one ever gave me my money back, so like, why would I do it? So they're starting to offer for different pricing structures, like I will only pay on a result basis. Um, and I won't pay anything up front. You'll start seeing running into this objection more if you're in business. And we were talking to someone in OB today that said, "Well, I didn't book these meetings because they said they would only pay at close, and I have a retainer service." And we're like, "Great, that's actually like that is just a trust issue. You should take the meetings and um, figure out why."
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, you should never turn someone down just because their first response to working with you isn't the exact way that you want to price the service or something like that. You should always try to hear where they're coming from. Potentially, they
Mhm.
need a mindset shift. Maybe you need a mindset shift.
Yeah,
Either could be true.
yeah, exactly. And if it's a good decision for them, you need to help them understand why it is. And if it's a bad decision for them, then then don't try to close them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
cool.
simple.
Love it.
Cool.
Solid pod. See you guys
Thanks.
next week.
Later.
I'm really bad at stopping these.